Children, welcome back to our poem number 2 by Leslie Norris, A Tiger in the Zoo. Let's see how the poem goes. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage, on pads of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through the long grass, near the water hole where plump deer pass. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws terrorizing the village. But he's locked in a concrete stele, his strength behind the bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. So this is the poem by Leslie Norris, A Tiger in the Zoo. Let's move forward for the explanation. Let's see what para 1 says. The para 1 says he stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage, on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. Stalks follows vivid, brightly colored, pads, paws of the tiger, rage, anger. So he's, when you're, what do you say, caging a tiger into the four walls, all he can do is he can stalk inside the cage, just walk around in a rage, in his quiet rage, in anger, because he is not free to move around. It's not natural for a tiger to be enclosed in a cage. He feels quite angry because he is not able to move freely and live his life the way he wants. So the literary devices used in this para is, the rhyme scheme for this para is ABCB. The first literary device that is used is personification. The tiger is personified because the poet refers him as he, as we all know that personification is a literary device wherein a non-living or any other living thing is given a human characteristic or is referred to as a human being. So here the pronoun he has been used for the tiger. Metaphor, the tiger's paws are compared with velvet pads, pads of velvet. They are directly called as pads of velvet. Then we have enjambment. Sentence is continuing to the next line without any punctuation mark. Imagery. Poet tries to create an image about the tiger like stalking or walking inside his cage with his wonderful vivid, brightly colored stripes. We know how the tiger is colored with the black and yellow stripes. Consonants, use of S sound stalks his stripes. Assonance, use of the vowel sound I in his vivid stripes. Oxymoron, use of adjectives opposite in meaning, quiet and rage. Quiet is someone who is quiet and rage is someone who is in anger, which are exactly opposite in meaning. Then we move around to para 2. He should be lurking in the shadow. What he should be actually, what he is inside the cage. But what he should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. He should, actually be hiding inside, through the inside the long grass or behind the long grass, in between the long grass, near a water hole, just waiting for a plump deer to pass by the way and hunt for his prey. He is not born to be living inside a cage. The literary device used in this para is, rhyme scheme is ABCB. Grass and pass are the rhyming words at the end of the line. Enjambment, there are no punctuation marks once again. Alliteration, use of sound P at the start of two words, plump pass. Imagery, the poet has tried to create an image of tiger's activities lurking in the shadow. Okay. So we can actually imagine through these lines how the tiger must be hiding behind the grass or behind the shadow. Then para 3. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. And secondly, after waiting for the deer to pass and hunt for his prey, he should also be snarling, that is roaring around the houses which are located at the jungle's edge, showing his fangs, his claws, terrorizing the villagers who are living there. He should not be inside the cage at any cost. So here again the rhyme scheme is A, B, C, B. Edge and village. Enjambment, line continues once again. Onomatopoeia, using words which denote the sound, snarling sound. Whenever there are sound words, they are the examples of onomatopoeia. Assonance, use of vowel sound O and I should around houses, bearing his white, his. Consonance, use of consonant sound S, his fangs, his claws. So you will have to see this video again and again to mark these literary devices. Why these literary devices are important while the lesson teaching is going on is this constitutes your 4-mark question, that is read the extract and answer the following question. This will be useful for that question. Let's move on to para 4. But he is locked in a concrete cell. Once again we are coming back to his actual condition now. His strength behind the bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Now all he has are the visitors who come and see him, who make fun of him, and he is completely locked behind the bars in a concrete cell. He is not able to move, neither able to do anything. So the tiger, the fierce, strong tiger enclosed behind the bars. So here once again the rhyme scheme A, B, C, B. Personification, the tiger is personified because once again the tiger refers to him as he. Assonance, in this E sound, he, locked, concrete and cell. Consonant, the consonance, the consonant sound S. Alliteration, use of sound B at the start of 2 words behind bars. Let's move on to the last paragraph. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Now it's night time, and all he is able to hear are not the beautiful sounds in the jungle, but the sounds of the patrolling cars. And he stares at them with his brilliant eyes, because when you see at these nocturnal animals, their eyes wonderfully shine at night. So that is what the poet is trying to create an image about. And what is he staring at? He is staring at the brilliant stars, because now no more he has to go out and hunt for his prey. Rather he has to stay back in his cage, either sleep or just once again stalk in his cage.